Hello, it's Giles here from 101 Part-Time Jobs. If you like what we're doing and you'd like to support us, you can. For £1, £4 or £10 a month at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. You can help support our independent production. We are so happy with the way this is going. We appreciate all of you listening and watching our episodes. So thank you for being here. If you'd like to take it that one step further, you can. That's at patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. Cheers.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
I feel like we really wanted to make music that made us feel like the way we felt when we found like our favorite album when we were 16 sort of thing. When it feels like your world is genuinely changed. If it makes you feel personally addressed in that way, I guess we're kind of chasing that feeling maybe, and still trying to be like super instant with it all. Kind of strange. We were all in slightly different positions. Like me, Ruben and Aoife were all finishing uni just as like the band was starting to take off. Is a very relative like term, but yeah, we got signed basically just as we were like finishing uni. So it was like going from doing like kind of crappy part-time-ish jobs and like finishing like coursework or whatever and doing recitals and things. And then that kind of, we were quite lucky to like have a bit of that worry, that instant worry when you come out of uni being like, oh, how am I going to make rent? How I need, like, we were extremely lucky just to kind of have that quite a quick, well, you can now just go and play some more gigs.
Yeah, and with that comes like a completely different, like stress of its own. Like it's obviously, but I'm sure no one is saying it's not the like by far the better of any option. Like here you go, you've done a degree in this thing that is quite frankly really hard to get a job in, and straight away you have a job in it. But that in itself is like, oh, what the hell? I don't like all the things, because I think up until about like 4 months before we finished, maybe even less, like my plan was like never to be doing that. And I just thought, oh, okay, so I'll keep working at the restaurant I work at, but like I'll go full time, and then it's good because I can get time off for gigs, and we'll like try and make it work. And none of these plans put in place.
It's just weird.
Happened.
Yeah, but it's like you touched on it then of like, you're like, oh, it'll be great, we'll just do the band forever and fine. But then when it does actually become like your job, and it's like, oh no, but we are like a professional band now. Like very quickly, new stresses like just load themselves in. Yeah, and it's not like, again, we're so lucky to do what we do, and we wouldn't switch places. But it's like, oh no, it's not like, I don't know. We care about what we do, and we care about doing it properly, and we're happy to do it that way.
You have to take it seriously. Yeah. I think we always took it seriously in its own way, but I think there's like a different kind when it comes to like with that privilege comes a responsibility that I think you have to own, and you have to like work on, and that is, I think we've all found like stressful, like musical, like social, political responsibilities that come with that.
I feel like there's loads of great artists who've made records that we love who went to study music but then made their own thing out of a rejection to it.
It definitely was a bit of that. I think we got I was going to say you've got a good example.
So,
for this.
university was like an ego death for me the entire way through, and I wouldn't even say that I had a particularly large ego going into it. Every time I tried to do anything, it would just like all my sort of friends around me, e.g. those two, at the time, would just like destroy me on marks, even to the point where in my sort of final recital of uni after 4 years, the band had started doing well, we'd actually just got signed and whatnot. I got like my review back from it, and it said that my guitar playing in Westside Cowboy was a means to an end and rudimentary at best.
You forgot that.
Yeah. So
and this was something you submitted for your uni course.
It was a live performance.
This also was kind of, sorry, I don't mean to rub it in here. But you submitted basically This Better Be Something Great, which was the EP that got us like a record deal. Yeah. And you got like a mid 2-1.
Yeah. And the whole time, like even throughout the uni, like me, Paddy, and our friend Deacon, who plays drums for Dove Ellis, once submitted the exact same work, which I'd done. I'd literally done the whole thing. And
can you say that?
Well, no, because we'd asked our teacher, we were like, if we all technically work together on this, then can we submit the same thing? Okay. And we submitted the exact same thing, and I got 3 marks lower than both of them.
Made a great website, though.
Which is terrible. I've forgotten what the question is. I'm getting riled up. But
I struck. It was frustrating to watch you because I think personally when I was on the course, I was maybe slightly more stubborn maybe in what I was doing. Of like, I'd see certain things and I'd be like, I'd take on some things and then maybe I was a little more pig-headed with other aspects. But you were far more like, you really wanted to take things on.
I just wanted
and embody things.
That's it.
And you would just kind of get like you would get no reward for it, like in trying to sort of appease people.
So thank you. So this is where we were getting to, as in the whole of uni was an ego death, which meant that after uni I was like, I'm not going to care about anything anymore. Like there's just like, whenever I try, I fail. And then ironically, the first time I didn't try at anything, Westside Cowboy started, and then it was like, and so I've like just like, all of this time when I've been like, my mum was always like, oh no, Ruben, you're slowly catchy monkey. You get what I mean? Like you're the type of guy who like, you're the type.
I don't know what the reference is.
Oh, you're the type of guy who comes to things a lot later than everyone else, and so you just need to keep going and just keep trying.
Crazy thing for a mother to say.
Yeah. No, because it's like I couldn't tie my laces until everyone else could. It was like one of them. And so I always believed it, and I always sort of kept on going. And then uni absolutely crushed me. And then just as we were leaving, I'd stopped trying it. It was something that worked, and so guys, don't try in any way ever.
Cowboys was like the main vehicle of just kind of shutting out all of that sort of like kind of dumb academic. Criticism, I guess, and just being like, let's just have fun and play music and things.
You can feel that, and you're wearing that t-shirt, it's like no band is an island. I love that because it's like the message, right? And I think the music, no matter what you're doing, there is always going to be a message. One of the messages I get from you is like, there's like a real tight-knit is quite like an overused word maybe, but like community, also an overused word, just like you seem to be a really nice group of friends,
collective
and there are and there are other bands like saw Push Bike the other day, you're in a Hollyhead t-shirt, like there's a lot of like great bands, like whether they're guitar music or punk or if it's not guitar music, there is like I think you can tell even from the outside when you first listen to a band, like a common thread. I don't know, maybe it's like friendliness is what I'm feeling, but does that make sense? Is that right? Do you feel like when you started being a band and you were getting to know other bands, you're like, cool, like you kind of stick together like Good Waffles do?
Definitely. We this is what Britannicana means to us. Like we've always said that, say, Push Bike and the Hollyhead and even Punch Bag, they sound nothing like us, but they have the same. It feels like they have the same sort of core ethos and just like values generally, and so it's amazing to be a part of a community like that, where everyone it just wants each other to succeed, and I think that's the best.
It's nice.
I think it also comes back to where a lot of just playing music with people in general comes from. Like after lockdown, I was in uni like toward like halfway through lockdown, and a lot of it was very like online based. Like, well, you got to get an Instagram, you got to get you got to get all this stuff. And I think with Westside Cowboy, while we do have things like that, we weren't very good at it and we didn't really like it. But a lot of it comes from just hanging out with people, hanging out with friends, hanging out at music shops,
Manchester's
and meeting
like
people like
a
that.
really small, like it feels really big, but it's also like you can walk across it in like 20 minutes to half an hour, and you will bump into someone from a band almost definitely along that walk and thing. So it's like it was a matter of time before everyone sort of came together. But I think it was also people really wanted to support each other. Like maybe there was a period of time a few years ago where it was a lot more apathetic, maybe the band scene, and people didn't really want to. It was a lot more competitive, and especially in Manchester, which has this like sometimes musically has had a bit of a chip on its shoulder about its past because it's had all these amazing bands, and there's this pressure to be like, well, we've got to act this certain way or whatever. That's all kind of gone out the window more recently, and everyone is just nice, and that just makes for a far more pleasant and like welcoming environment.
And that's going to last longer than like the moment or the record, even, or the record lasts forever, obviously. But like that friendship, that good energy, that lasts longer than anything.
Yeah, I think so. It's like you go to any gig in Manchester at the minute and you see like the audience is full of like lovely like people, but a lot of it's just like other bands made up, and it's just everyone. I think the common thread is like everyone wants everyone else to do well, but like really like genuinely loves music. It feels like everyone's in it for all the right reasons and wants like that. I don't know, you speak to like every band in Manchester or like in the sort of like No Band is an island scene and stuff, and it's just like you're just raving about other people and like how much you want to see someone else, or like how excited you are, or it's like trying to get someone else's demos to be like, have you heard this song yet? And it's like it's just nice. I think it just makes you feel good, and everyone is like also very tense in like the current like political like climate, and people just are like, what can I do, because I just am hanging out with my mates. And I don't know, it's not perfect, but everyone's trying.
Yeah.
What is the No Band is an Island thing? I've just seen the T-shirt.
It started with us, Push Bike, martial arts friends of ours in Manchester, and Holyhead. We put on a gig over a year ago, the February of last year, and all the funds, all the proceeds went to medical aid for Palestinians, because we were like, we never get to play together, we really want to. The world's really bad, let's just try and do it all. And we kept it going, and like there's more and more bands sort of involved and a part of it, and we put on like gigs every couple of months. We have like speakers from like direct action groups and charities and stuff, and we now work with UK Med, which is a Manchester based charity, and it's like, it's really nice. We'd like to keep it going for as long as possible and make it big.
It's nice. It feels like bands want to be like politically engaged again. Like it doesn't really feel. I worry it sounds like melodramatic, but it's like it doesn't. We're so lucky in like this country has a lot of issues, but we're very lucky to sort of relatively still be able to like speak our minds and make like be creative and things. And sometimes it feels a little bit like I don't know what the word, like to kind of shut out everything that is going on feels like doing like the very real privilege we have like a disservice and things. And I think that's felt by like most of our friends, well, all of our friends in bands basically. Like it's not really enough just to be like, I just want to play music. Like you kind of need to acknowledge like what the context is now and how.
You look at like a band, like we're all very close with Holyhead. Paddy used to be in Holyhead, but like you go and see a band like that, and that's like such political music in its content, and it's like so amazing and so emotional, but it's not the sort of music we write. There's obviously political things hidden within because it's like written by ourselves, but it's not like an explicitly political like band. But I think we've been able to, like, I don't know, we've tried to forge an avenue to express that part of ourselves, as well as trying to make accessible gigs in every way. Like, if someone can pay, like, I really there was an amazing lineup at Gulliver's one night, 120 cap venue in Manchester, and it was £7 to see like Wyatt, Dog Race and Dove Ellis, and it's like I think that's like I don't know, I'd love that. Like, if I was a kid and that was near me, I would have liked that.
It's really important to think about like accessibility as well, like no stairs in venues, or just allowing, like, whether it's financial, whether it's physical, and like you can't do everything all the time, but you can try.
Yeah. I think something we've found, like, the more and more, like, just in the whole group trying to book venues, is so much of like the DIY scene is like, everything is like old pubs or old things, like, and so it's like not like, it's not financially or like logistically viable to make these venues accessible, which is really sad, because there are people out there who want to be involved in this scene, and we know people that want to be involved in this scene, but like can't even physically get into the gig. But then there's like not spaces of that capacity that are cheap enough to put on, so like there's just this like huge barrier with like a scene that should be like goodwilling, and it is from everyone we've ever met, but it's like there's just a genuine barrier, and it's, I don't know, we're working around like
it's just trying, like, it's almost like something we all come back to. Like, nothing is ever like ideal, like circumstantially, so it's just like, as long as you're trying, that's everything. And I think that's a view shared by a lot more young people nowadays. I think there is like less people throwing their hands up in the air being like, who gives a fuck, like, it's all fuck, like people, like young people, that feels like, how do we actually make things better, how do we, for ourselves and others, and whether that's locally or like, I don't know, just in any small way, or like if it can be a little bit more wide reaching, I guess.
Totally, and I think the more you hear about it, it's worth talking about it, because the more people hear about it, the more approachable it is, and the less it feels weird to talk about it, right? Really appreciate you. You were brilliant. Love the music. And if there's anything that 101 can do for No Band is an Island, we'd love to get involved, whether it's like recording an event or like organising some speakers or doing like any of the production stuff. We'd love to be involved in it. Just got one question. I think I asked you before at Green Man about like some good work fuck-ups, good gaffes, embarrassing moments in the workplace. I feel like it's fertile ground. I think lots of people have those sorts of stories.
Specifically to us, it's fertile ground. We look like fuck-ups.
No, fertile ground for everybody, because there's lots of bitty jobs. I don't know, working in supermarkets, working at the pubs, I always smash things. I'm just like, I'm a clumsy person. And I feel like people are clumsy. People are clumsy. Have you got any good memories that I'm raking up?
I think that one of the, I don't know whether this is like necessarily embarrassing, but I do think it's quite mental.
Oh, boring.
Boring?
The boring one. Boring.
That's pretty bad.
That's
right.
Bad.
Can I do two?
Yes.
So once the boring story was, I was working at Tesco, and I worked at Tesco for quite a while, and I was originally the crisp guy, because it was quite a big Tesco.
Niche.
Yeah. Big crisp section. And then I was like, I can't deal with this anymore, too much pressure. So I went to the...
He's going to break.
I went to the...
We've got to get him out of there.
Yeah. I went to the tills, and I was like, this is amazing. I really love being on the tills. And then about sort of a few months into being on tills, I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do less. And so I was fed up of having the same conversation for 8 hours a day or whatever. And this lady, bless her, came through. And it was sort of later on in quite a long shift, and I just had enough, and I was really like, pissed off at the world and whatnot. I was like, oh, so what do you do for work? And she said, oh, I work in safeguarding. And without knowing it, I just went, oh, boring. and
Not even that boring.
It's really important.
Right.
But you went boring.
Yeah, and but what was really terrible is that she just lined up a huge shop, and it was right at the very start of the shop, and she obviously was taken aback by what I'd said, and spent the rest of the sort of 10 minutes explaining to me all the reasons why safeguarding wasn't boring and how she was so fulfilled in her work and whatnot. And I was just sat there just like, well, I was on the till in Tesco thinking that the world was just the worst place in the ever. And so I was just genuinely dying the whole time, just like, because I couldn't really, I can't get away from it. Yeah. And it was terrible. And then the other one that was just mental, I used to work in a curry restaurant in Wem, where I'm from, called Security. And my friend at the time was like the manager, even though he was like 14. And so we all of my mates from school ended up working at Security. And one day they were like, oh, do you want to be our delivery person hasn't come in. You've got your bike. Like, do you want to give it a go? And the first sort of order, I sort of got it up on my on the computer, and it was sort of where I lived, so I knew the way there, but it was like 4.5 miles away, and so I in the dark without lights, and I put my my backpack on with just the curry inside it, and by the time I got there it was cold, obviously, and it was pitch black in the middle of the countryside, and on the way back my parents sort of drove past me and were like oh, you're meant to be at work, and I was like, I am at work, I wasn't there. I got told off for that, I will say.
Respect.
Yeah. Sorry that I've hugged it.
No, that's a great one. I think we got time for one more.
I dropped a lot of Vaporol spritzes in my time. I used to try and make things like fun. I did like when you get so like bored and you start feeling like you've got like the craziest free will in the world. I don't know, in like the hospitality point, it gets to like, I think if anyone comes in like on the edge of like last orders or before the kitchen's about to close, you're like, I think I've got free reign. And I remember going up to like a group of Australian men and being like, really don't understand Australia, because if it's on the bottom, why do you not just fall off into space? And I was like, I'm just gonna say whatever comes into my mind, and they just looked at me like and I was just like
there's a certain amount of like just tiredness where you're like, I'm gonna be the freak.
It's the scary thing when you like convince yourself that they're not people anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you've been there all day.
Oh, I've got one. It's not really a crazy story, but it's something I like to do when the shop was busy. So I used to work at Johnny Roadhouse Music in Manchester.
Yeah.
And on a Saturday, especially when students came back, loads of kids would come in and hang out. And I used to do the same thing with my friends, like, can I try a guitar? And we just like noodle on it for hours, like stupid classic rock riffs really loud. And loads of kids just kept coming up to me, and it got to one point where I was like, how many amps do we have plugged in, and how many groups of friends can I plug in at once? So I think I had like 6 groups of friends all the way down the shop. I was like, turn it up, go for it, crank it. And they'd all be like shredding Metallica, a bit of jazz and a bit of everything. So one guy had some crazy feedback, another guy's trying to wah. And if you stand by the door of the shop, occasionally they'd like harmonize and they'd all like sync up.
Like some
it was amazing.
Classical, contemporary.
I was orchestrating something then.
That's like so rebellious. That sounds like the Breakfast Club. The movie sounds like a. Paddy, we got you for what?
I don't have a lot of stuff like, but I remember one time I spilt like a glass of wine on Norris from Coronation Street. Like I don't know if that's a niche one. Like he used to live in my local town. He's like this small. Does anyone watch Coronation Street? He's like this small. Quite his character's very grumpy and small. I don't know if he's still in it. But he used to come in a lot to my work during like my A-level summer, and I'd have to like. And I worked for this lady called Breda Murphy. She was this lovely Irish woman, but she was like. I remember I was like quite a shy kid, and she just didn't care at all. She was like, right, you're going to take 20 glasses of Prosecco like up a flight of stairs, and you've never done this. And I remember the first day I pulled it off the bar and they just smashed everywhere. But I remember there was like a table of 10 upstairs, and I was like, I'd grown up watching Coronation Street with my parents, and I was like, oh my God, is it Ben? Yeah.
Great. How do you remember that feeling?
Well, it's just like you'd sort of just go, oh, I'm so sorry, like, but it's just like, oh no, we'll get you another one, and then you sort of run away. It was also kind of weird because it was like upstairs, and it was all like quite like a spongy carpet. I just remember the feeling of like, and then there was like, it was like all very weird feeling, and so it's like. And everyone kind of knows it's happened on the other tables and things, but it was like it's just unnecessarily awkward. But like he is basically his character in real life. He didn't really offer a lot of condolence. He was just sort of stared me down. And
Love it. You got to live through those feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting after doing the sort of the EP. Songs live for essentially 2 years now, because our sort of half hour of power is essentially just the first 2 EPs back to back, and so starting to introduce new things is like genuinely like really scary, because if someone watches us and thinks we're bad, that's because you don't like us. Usually we play it like the way that we want it to sound, usually, but. Adding new things in now, we can really feel that they haven't been road tested.
Yeah.
And I guess like that must maybe for an audience member that's like, oh, this is nice and fresh sounding. For us, it's like, oh my God, everyone's gonna hate it, and we're all gonna.
It's scary, but it's also exciting in the way that it feels like the first week of being in a band again, where it slightly could fall off the rails.
Yes.
It's good to be out of your comfort zone and to be like, for so long we were just like, it doesn't matter, we're just gonna go and like do the most direct thing possible, and now we have the chance to sort of think more and like I don't know, but we've written
longer songs.
Having said all that, like there's like we're really excited, like we're really excited about like the new. Who's to say that if there's new music coming, really? But like,
what is it?
We'd be really excited about it, and we'd feel like it does accurately represent where we are at the moment.
Wicked. And if there is new music coming, hypothetically, what's like the vibe of it? What's the sound? What have you been listening to?
If there was new music coming, we would sort of approach it in the way that like. Sorry, this is too much of a thing to keep up. We want to. I feel like we really wanted to make music that made us feel like the way we felt when we found like our favorite album when we were 16, sort of thing. Like that sort of whatever music that is. Like when you're a teenager and you find something you really love and it feels like your world is genuinely changed, and and it could be like the worst album that you ever heard, like nowadays, but if it makes you feel personally addressed in that way, I guess we're kind of chasing that feeling maybe, and still trying to be like super instant with it all, and like I don't know,
overthink it or anything.
Yeah,
youthful guitar music.
Yeah, trying to make something that is like genuine to us as people at the time of writing. I used to when I first met like Ruben, I remember one of the first conversations we had, I was like, my worst fear is like the two like nastiest things I could be called is like, I think ingenuine. The other one might have been boring or unfunny, which are words many people have probably used to describe me, but ingenuine is like terrifying fear, and I think that's all you can do, and it's up to people if they like it.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. You great band. Thank you so much. I appreciate
you.
the time. You've got loads of things to do, so I appreciate the time.
It's been nice to chat.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Did you start a Lipper and did you shake Paul McCartney's hand?
We did. Taya's got, she's got the best picture with Paul McCartney in the
Seriously?
world.
Okay, could you just walk us through step by step, please?
Do you want to see it?
Yes. And we will get this up. We'll get this up on the edit.
Views on TikTok.
That's wicked. When you finish Lipper and you're like, I care about music, because I think that's really what this show's about. It's about like, okay, you care about something enough to dedicate your life to it, to prioritize it. What is your stories? I guess you're going to have 5 different stories.
It was kind of crazy for us because in our last year of uni, or she was the year under us, but in our last year of uni, we like got in touch. We'd had some releases and stuff, and we got in touch with our manager, and like things started moving. So we were in such an incredible position when we left uni, where it was like we can actually start doing this now.
We
and
were so lucky. Like, it's insane.
And
the timing was perfect.
Yeah. And obviously it was maybe not the best timing for Lil because she was in 3rd year while we were doing this full time. But also just being able to do this full time was it's always been our dream. And suddenly we're out of uni and it's like, okay, you're business women now. You're doing this. Girl group's company, kind of.
Yeah, Girl Group LLC.
Literally.
Literally. But it was kind of insane because we all lived in the same house and with one random guy, Freedom, love him. And we all worked together and we had a studio in the house and like we just were in the bedroom writing, trying to like do this full time, and there was so much discussions between us how to like do a work day and how early to get up, how early to like stop, and how to make sure that we're inspired enough but also that we're working hard enough and like not letting go of that opportunity and making sure that she didn't like have to drop out of Lippa. And so like how do we help her with uni work but also still keep her like that we can travel and like all of that, which it was kind of wild.
That was like the main thing that obviously we had to navigate. We were like literally landed on our feet so much. Like obviously most people that come out of music uni have that thing of like, you know, like you were sort of alluding to, like that transitional period of like sort of trying to do it professionally, and we like were lucky enough to just like have literally that like sort of lined up. But the main like kind of the thing that we were navigating was like, how do we, because it really was like full time straight away. And you said like, you know, it's probably different individually for all of you, but like it really wasn't, because like we lived together already. We like obviously these all graduated at the same time, then we all got like, you know, started like making the connections that we did in the industry at the same time. So it's not really that individual.
I definitely think we knew to some extent that it was going to be like go. But like actually putting it into practice and be like, whoa, this is actually like what life is right now.
You're like learning as you
Pretty
go.
mad. It's like trying to navigate it as you go. Truly.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
And to be honest as well, this might not be like what we should say, but like Lippa was really hard. And like I'm really grateful almost that it went that smoothly, because I never had the time to like, I was already quite leaned in and on it and like used to getting up early and working all day and going to bed late, and like it was quite nice to kind of just continue that rather than having to like relearn how to pick myself up like that.
And there's a good amount of you, obviously, like Sticky Little Pictures sounds it. There's like a enough balance of like punk and pop and like something heavier, something more electronic in there. How does that happen? Like you mentioned earlier, like when you were chatting when you all live together, which is brilliant, by the way, of like, okay, how are we gonna do this? It reminds me like Jarvis Cocker from Pulp, like he would like draw out their what they'd wear on stage, and I think a lot of people probably do that because they're like, we need to know exactly what this is going to be. So when you were writing that record, writing that EP, which is Ace, did you know what it was going to sound like? Were you like, okay, this is what we're gonna?
Not in the slightest. I feel like with us, it's always been like, we've never, in terms of like what we sound like, we've never really had a plan. We've had a massive plan for what we like
everything else,
what the message is, what like the visual story is, but like the music is just, for a long time at least, was just like showing up in a room and being like
And how does that work then? Like you really show up in a room, you work with a producer,
No, it's just us.
No,
It's just
just
you?
us.
Okay.
Yeah. Preferably in your pajamas, straight out of bed.
So you go in and
straight into your
you've got your laptop.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, it was like
what do we
blank slate.
We started obviously in first year uni, and we weren't meant to be a band. We were just meant to try and write together, because we felt like there was such a boys club in music, and we were scared of going into the studio because we felt like we didn't belong. So we were like, okay, we're all best friends. We've got super different tastes in music. So maybe it'll just be weird, but we'll try. And from that first session, it's always been like, because we're so different musically, we drag each other in so many different directions, which is what I find the most fun. I would never write anything of what we do here if I was alone.
For myself.
No. All of us say the same thing, which is quite funny. Like, I think we just like, in terms of like how sessions go, it's like we, you know, we'll have certain tunes which individually we really like, and they might not always be something that the other, like, other people would be like, okay, but then we kind of go along with it, and like as the process goes, it becomes like all of us.
We spent so long not gigging, and we spent so long with girl group just being this like project that just existed in our room, and that we didn't know whether it was going to be a band or just an album or something. And then when we started doing things live, it was quite late into, I can't remember when it was, but like we'd made a lot of our music without ever having been in front of people. And I just remember the way that like suddenly them playing shows for like a few months, some really bad ones too.
You got to do them.
Some people come up to it, like, I think we saw someone last night and they were like, oh yeah, I saw you at this gig, and I was like,
why are you still here? It's like, don't look at me.
But I feel like the Velvet Curtain, and I think this goes into the kind of taking care of yourselves thing as well. Like, now is such a positive time in music. People like the Velvet Curtain's been pulled back. Like you see like everything that happens. I mean, this show is about everything that happens, and I think that there's so much positive to that. Like you get told that, you know, you should take care of yourself. You get told that actually you played some gigs that weren't that good and they get better. You know, that's all good. It's all part of the learning.
Fans love to see the process, and we've had such a process of our live show, and I think that's also really nice, because then the people who's been there from the beginning have really like seen us grow so much. And also live show for us has become such a way, and like there's a lot going on in the live show, and that can't be good immediately. And you see, there's people who's been there from the beginning who were like, this is chaos, I see where it's going.
It's ambitious.
Exactly.
It's got potential.
And it's really beautiful to like have that connection with people as well.
We write everything, we produce everything, and I do just think, like, as much as socials can be a task sometimes, it's really nice that people get to see and care about that part of the process.
You're directing the videos, you're writing the videos.
Yes.
Tell me how that works, because I feel like, you know, maybe like 10, 15 years ago when YouTube got massive, people started to make their own video and it became accessible, but that doesn't mean the all the videos were like good. And I thought actually like YouTube making it more accessible for bands to make videos, in a way kind of makes it harder. Because you can have a simple idea that's good, but to make a simple idea you have to be really smart or something like that. Tell us about your music videos.
We obviously, we've not done all of them ourselves. For most of them, we've had like a really lovely all-female team help us out with them, which has been so good.
Yeah, awesome.
But we've also I've done some videos for us, including for Food Shopping, which is our single that's coming out soon. And it's just so fun. I think like, for me, that's just always been the thing. Like that's how I got into music. Like I've always loved visuals. And like music and film.
How do you start? Like where does it come from?
Like a Canva.
Okay.
No, we like with some of them we've discussed it and like thought of it together, and just had the idea, and then, but a lot of it is quite DIY, and I think it's just really fun. It's really fun to do stuff that like kind of especially She Goes was very much like, it kind of we just filmed whatever we could on the day, and then I just had to make it work.
The reason we love things being self-made and like from us is because you can really tell the kind of girlhood and friendship in it, which obviously is why we love when Katja makes our videos as well.
You do get a sort of different like intimacy and performance when there's only 5, 6, maybe 7 people in the room.
Definitely.
Like for Food Shopping, we did something really cool where we had, I'm just going to say, I think that's fine, where we got all, it's obviously a song that's very much about like childhood and missing home, and all of us have moved, including Lil, who's English, like everyone has moved quite far away from home, and it's weird growing up and being so distant from it. And so what we did was we like went back to Brid and also to Oslo and filmed all of our like closest family and friends singing along to it. That's nice. And it's cool because they don't really get to be a big part of what we do now. I think like for a lot of what's happening right now, when we had the for a lot of what's happening, people, like, especially my parents, don't really, like, get it. They don't know what's going on until suddenly, like, I remember when we had the Elton John thing, and I told my dad, and he was feeling like,
we had an interview with Elton John, and that's a chaotic story, probably for another time. It was absolutely crazy.
But that was, like, that. Apart from that, like, most of the time, they don't really know what's going on, so it's really nice to be able to, like, bring them into it somehow.
Food shopping is also maybe the one song that we have that's, like, the closest to heart, because it's so personal.
Yeah.
So it feels very nice that the music video is so self-made.
I started doing all these different jobs, trying to be a journalist, trying to make it happen. And that's kind of when I started thinking about 101 part-time jobs. And at the start, I was like, I just need to write down all of these experiences of shitty jobs. And that is a question that everyone has an answer to.
Oh God. My first ever job was when I was 12. I worked on underwear stall. I worked for 12 hours a day for £30. and I would like, obviously, because I was just like the little child, I think I was just excited, like, oh my God, I've got a job. And they'd just give me the shittest jobs ever, and I'd just have to be like carrying all this heavy shit up on the van, out the van, and then, like, sometimes I'd be put on the burger van. Okay. Just, like, also.
Who's happy to be there?
And I found out what goes in burgers that they sell. I'm glad that those days behind me.
I used to work at a grocery shop, and it was fine, except I had to wear these like super skinny bright green jeans. and it was in the middle of it was my first like proper job. It was in the middle of summer. It was the neighborhood shop, so everyone would just come in and see. And the air conditioner stopped working, and it was like 30 degrees outside. And I kid you not, I kept running into like the back of the milk just to like cool down because it was so hot, and I was wearing these jeans. It was horrible.
I worked on the tills. I don't know why. Everyone in my town works at the supermarket, and it was awesome because the Christmas party, everyone had a +1, and all of our friends worked there. So we just invited the whole town to this Christmas party. But for some reason, I said, I'll work on the tills because I thought it sounded fun.
Tills are better though, are they not?
Not good when you're hungover at 16 and there's like fresh fish.
No, there's fresh fish.
The amount of times. Supermarket, serious business.
Yeah.
You're like a key part of your like community when you do that.
I mean, yeah,
true. In your green trousers.
Whether I want to be there or not. Yours was good, Maria.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mine is not like a shitty part-time job.
No,
but
apart from socials,
it was like a pretty decent full-time job.
Someone's got to have someone.
It was my passion outside of music is grammar.
Yeah. As in like language grammar.
Language grammar, linguistics. I love them. So
when she says passion, she means like
English grammar or Norwegian grammar?
Norwegian.
Okay.
Because I'm not very good at English grammar. Okay. I've like written some books on it and like been a bit of a teacher and
awesome.
But that doesn't.
No, tell them about the emails. You don't have to.
You don't know pressure.
Cut it.
No, it is. I'm not ashamed.
You should be.
I used to care a lot. We have a thing in Norway called like the language council, which is like the people in Norway who are in charge of the language and what are the rules, what are not the rules. And I just have quite an email chain with them from back in the day when I just used to feel curious about things, and I used to email them and be like, so this is a bit of a phenomenon I've realised. What's up with that? And they'd be like,
hoping for some clarity on this.
Well, I think like you've seen it used in maybe different ways.
I've been like, I don't understand, why do we say this when this is the rule and blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, oh, hey, Maria.
Maria's 16.
No, Maria, like 20.
You got to care about something.
Yes.
Okay, one more story left.
I've had 3 very shit jobs in my life. First, a kiosk where I got sued by my boss. Second one, military night shift for 12 hours every day for a year. And then The last job I had was that I still sometimes do.
Yeah.
Occasionally
No
when I
shame.
go home. For a little extra cash is like a Norwegian version of B&Q, where I mix paint in the most like male-dominant industry you can figure. Like it's
more male-dominated.
It's even more male-dominated. It's legit. It's
the boys' club in the paint industry.
Yeah, no. At one
We don't
point,
talk enough about
I was the only girl amongst like 50 men, and it was
that's why we started a girl group.
Yeah, and that's why we started a girl group. And then I would often get customers that would be like, if I didn't find like the right dimension for like the screws or nails they wanted, they were like, I want to talk to men about this.
Yeah, to be fair, actually.
And that's why we started girl group. After that. So yeah, that's been my experience. If I ever move down here, I will probably work in a paint shop, but next to girl group.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Hope it goes well. Hell yeah. James Emmanuel, welcome. Have people said that before?
No, it's my first time.
This is the first time. James Emmanuel, welcome to the 101
you.
Part-Time Jobs. People go through so much before they start making art. And like, when everyone's brought up in different environments where they're told what work is and what work isn't. And the vibe of the show is to hear about people's stories about what that looks like and what that feels like, going against the grain, maybe going against what you're told to do, because you have something inside of you that you need to do, and you're going to come up against situations where it's like, oh, I'm kind of doing the opposite of what I'm being told to do here.
Yeah.
You have to reconcile with that and kind of go through that. That means different things to everyone, right? No matter where you're from or what your situation is. What's your story with that, of being like, okay, I'm going to prioritize music. I'm going to prioritize what I'm doing now.
Well, I guess we could start from the show we just played just now.
Yeah. Thanks for coming straight away.
Yeah. Last year when I came here, I was just so... It was one of the shows I've played that I did not enjoy at all.
Yeah.
Because it was just so
Happens.
industry focused, and I wasn't used to that because, I play music because it's the only time I think in my life when I can completely zone out and zone into something, and nothing else matters, and I'm lost in it. So, but last year you came and you're like, oh yeah, this person's in the audience, so you need to play for this person, and it's like I play music for the everyday fan, and it's like, it was a different experience. But talking about what you've just said, every time I get to do these things, it's always filled with a lot of nostalgia talking about it, because my story is very kind of left wing. Technically, I probably shouldn't even be here, but here we are.
How do you mean? What do you think about when you say that?
I started doing music properly from mopping toilets in a bar in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And you're mopping away, and people come in and they're like, oh, don't give up your day job and things like that. Or some people can be quite unkind. But you also have a lot of people who are so kind and positive. And I'm there one day doing my thing and mopping away and trying to sing Phil Collins or whatever. And these two lads walk in, they having a wee, and I didn't even notice them. I'm trying to mop and do my thing, and they're like, oh, James, don't give up your day job, da 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 da. I just act like they weren't even there. And this old man came out of the loo, and he was like, you know what? Told them off, and then he was like, how about that for confidence, man? You just act like they weren't even there. He's like, I don't know, I'm not saying you should obviously do music or whatever, but if you do decide to do music, you have the one thing that most people don't have. You have natural charisma and confidence, and you're not afraid of it. You're very comfortable in your own skin. And he was like, there's a karaoke bar upstairs, do you want to, go up there and just sing? You never know, just sing. So turns out that the karaoke bar was every Monday, and Monday was my only day off.
Yeah.
So I just used to go there and sing and Lionel Richie all day long. And I'd done it for so many months that the people started to know me when I came. And Steve, the guy who runs it, one day just went, you know what, James, I think you're a little bit better than the karaoke people. I know, it's lovely to have you here, but you should maybe, have you ever tried like playing the open jam, like playing with actual musicians and stuff? And I was like, not really, I don't play any instrument. He was like, no, you get people who play guitar and drums and you just play with them and you just sing and stuff. And he was like, there's a bar opposite here called Whistle Binkies, just go in there and then play. So that's how, I started going there, playing music. And I didn't really think really much into it. But
doing that, you've ended up doing what a lot of artists and bands try to do, which is find a community.
Yeah.
You found it circumstantially.
Yes.
Where you're like, these are the people who run the bar.
Yeah.
It's a human connection.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with them. Maybe you have a beer with them or whatever. Yeah. And that's like a foundation. There's love there. There's humanity there. Yeah. And I think a lot of artists, obviously everyone wants a bit of that, but people don't find that everywhere. I think it sounds like you made the very best of the situation.
It's what I've always, like all my life, it's what I've always tried to do. It's to take it back, my father was a preacher.
Yeah.
And you know what, we grew up in Nigeria, and I think I was like 11 when I found that I was a little bit dyslexic. And obviously back in Nigeria, no one understood what that was or what that meant. People just kind of thought you were stupid, or when I wouldn't get the right grades in school, people would think maybe it's because you're playing too much, you're not concentrating.
Right.
For a kid who has dyslexia, to be in a classroom with 100 people just doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
So
for someone who's now in the UK or in Scotland, what are the main differences?
In terms of, obviously having 100 people in the class could be a negative, but in terms of the positives, I think it's one of the things I think has been lost in the West is a lack of community. Growing up in Nigeria, you could be on the street playing, and if you end up on your friend's house, they were making dinner, you get a plate, everyone gets a plate, and it's like everyone's your parent. Even talking about the music thing, like at 11, I started gambling with my friend, and my dad was a preacher, and he wasn't there, but because everyone is kind of your parent, through the grapevine, in 30 minutes from when the lady had seen me, my father had already heard that she'd seen me in the shop where the gambling was happening. That's how, we don't need CNN there. It's straight in.
Yeah.
So
was that strictness kind of across the board?
Yes, everyone, like if someone was to see you doing the wrong thing, didn't matter whether they were your mom or they'll just like straight on tell you off, or so she told my father I saw James gambling, so that's why Dad took my hand straight to the choir teacher and went, James, he sings, put him in the choir. So that's how I ended up,
get him out of trouble.
Yeah, just to keep me out of trouble. And it's the thing that I think has been lost in this generation, or like compared to the UK and Nigeria, is that sense of community and sense of like, there's a saying in Nigeria like everyone's dad and everyone's mom.
Yeah.
So I feel like, here there's a little bit more individuality, which I guess
good and bad sides.
Good and bad,
And it comes out in your music, Good Man.
Yeah.
There's, it's about that, right? Yeah. It's about this connection. It's about family. It's about treating people right, about treating women right, specifically.
Yeah. No, my father was he was an old school guy, but he was a stand-up guy, and he was a great guy. I mean, I remember even just that song only came about because I was having a conversation with my mom, older me now, Dad, about the dyslexia thing, and he was like, "Oh, was that what it was? I just thought you were thick."
Yeah, a bit more understanding now.
But my father, when the grades weren't so good, and everyone would bash me, "Oh, you've been too goofy," or whatever, he'd just wait for the dust to settle, and he'll call me to the corner when everyone wasn't there, and he'd say, "You're going to be great. You're going to be great. You're going to be great." And he said it one time when I failed, and I just lost it. And I was like, "What do you mean I'm going to be a great man? Like, I just literally just failed." How? Why?
What was it that you failed?
At school.
Right.
And
as a class.
In class. And he looked at me and he just lifted his head and he went, "You're going to be great because you're my son."
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what that meant for many years until I had my son.
Yeah.
And I realized that there's no one in the world that wants you to be better than them as much as your father.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see the world as well. There's a good and bad side with the way men show up in the world now. But I also just think it's very important now more than ever to celebrate men like my father and offer an alternative to the youngins now that there's a different world outside. Some of this manosphere kind of people. They're not the everyday people. So that's what guides them.
Do you feel the pressure in your career to look after your son, to look after yourself?
I used to, but I think now that my son is very involved in what I do, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Good man. I mean, we filmed all the videos together.
Yeah.
And we found that he's really talented dancer, which I never quite.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You didn't know?
No. But he just, with camera turns on, and he just started doing this weird thing. And the film guy was like, right, forget about James. Let's just film that.
Yeah, awesome.
And then he was interviewing me 2 days before I came. And he sounded really professional. I'll show you maybe when we finish.
Please, sign him up.
Yeah, but it's things like that makes me, because it keeps me quite grounded. I mean, you can come here and then you get into the whole celebrity culture, whatever. Yeah. But as soon as I walk through the door, it's that. We're changing nappies. We're making dinner. It's like, you welcome to the real world.
Can you write about that as well?
Yes.
I mean, that like whether you write actually about that situation or whether that inspires you to write. You know what I mean?
It's all in my music. I mean, people say all the time, you write very direct. I'm like, I'm not. I think, obviously, I'm a solo artist, but like I was saying to some of the people we're having conversations earlier, I was saying, when you're a soul artist, and many people hear soul, there's a predetermined expectation of what they think it is, of what the way they think you should show up. And Marvin Gaye was the guy that made me wanted to sing. Was Marvin. But I felt like after his generation, we lost the people that were supposed to be the flag bearer taking it forward after that. And I think it's because a lot of soul artists post Marvin were afraid to touch on different subjects.
Yeah.
Soul music became
quite
only
straight on subjects.
Yeah, it was very, love songs and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with love songs, but it's just, when I think about my music, when I'm writing it, it's like I'm thinking, I want to go to my show and have a very diverse audience there. I want to see a lot of gay people there. I want to see a lot of, young people there. I want to see old people. I want to see everybody there. Yeah. And the only way you can do that is to write a body of work that reflects everybody's journey, and not be afraid. And you get a lot of artists, maybe soul artists, very hesitant about maybe talking about, like, for example, LGBT things because they feel like it doesn't align with the genre. And I'm like, no, soul music is for everybody. Yeah. And we have to let the next generation know that this used to be the pop, guys, just in case you didn't know. I mean, the pop wasn't Taylor Swift. Yeah. The pop was soul music. Yeah. And for me, I'm very conscious of that. And I think it's what drives me is to see a world where that genre of music somehow gets back to being the pop, and then the young people can know, right, we could write about, for example, I wrote about, Brothers and Sisters, which is about, misogyny, because, for example, the only reason I ended up in this country was because I lost my father, and my uncles came around and they went, well, you've got 3 sisters, they're going to get married, they should drop out of school because we can't fund everybody going. And I thought, my mom used to say to us all the time, I went to school in 1970. My father made sure I went to school even ahead of my brothers. So she was like, to be in like, what, 2017, 2006, and people still talking about you not being able to go to school, it just felt really backward. And I could see, my mom never asked for anything, but for the very first time I could see in her eyes a kind of feeling of disappointment and as if she failed. And I just felt like, oh no, that can't be right. So that's why I came here basically to work and support her to make sure they stayed in school.
Wow.
But it's a funny old thing, the way life works, where sometimes you can find your dream while fulfilling someone else's dream. Yeah. If I didn't make the sacrifice to come here, I wouldn't have found out that I had this gift of music, and we wouldn't be here right now. So it's like life has a way of. I always see my music as a kind of a gift, maybe that was given to me for that sacrifice. So
why not?
That's how we try to do it.
And you have this career now. You know, you've been putting out singles, you've been putting out songs. I mean, what's next? I feel like this is such a classic journalist question, but like, what's next? But I mean, yeah, what does it look like for you? At any one stage, are you always like writing the next track?
Yeah. I mean, we've got another single coming out right after Good Man. I really felt strongly about making sure that we release this song now, because I felt like this was probably the only time in my career I could probably do it the way that I've done it. And it was pretty important to me.
And talk about the things you want to talk about. And this is the manosphere.
Yes. And stuff like that. And because it's the thing with being an artist that I feel like it's been lost, is really people kind of need to know where you are, where you stand, what you stand for, what is it about you. Because it's the same thing I say all the time. Like, if you, for example, are not okay with any of the subject that I discuss on my songs, you can already hear them. You probably wouldn't be buying any ticket to come there. Yeah. So if I see you at my show, it's because I think you've listened to the body of work and you like the messaging and you like where I'm at with it. And so it's like a meeting of like-minded people kind of thing. But yeah, there is a next single coming out, which I shouldn't give it away, but it's probably one of the biggest songs in it's the biggest song in the record. It's called Bridge Over the Tears I Cried. And
we've got the name of the track.
Yeah, Bridge Over the Tears I Cried. And it's fun. It's really fun. You can really get into it. And I had a dream that my ex wanted to come back, and I was like, hell no. So the song basically starts with Crew girl, there's no place for you in my life. You begging me to take you back. You burnt the bridge over the tears I cried. So it's like
you were afraid you okay.
It's fun. It's really like you can really get into it and have some fun with it. And then I thought, we've talked about a lot of things, so maybe we'll put a love song in there. So there's a really traditional, like brothers and sisters, throwback soul song there called So Good to Me.
Awesome.
And then after this EP, we're probably going to put a single out and then go right into the album. The album is almost basically done. We just need to record.
Hell yeah, exciting times.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Amazing.
James, thanks so much for the time. I'm a big fan of, 101 Part-Time Jobs. It's about the care and the work and, of the creation of the song and where that comes from and like how that changes, of course. But there's also the everyday like jobs that you don't want to work. I'm a big fan of, and this is how we end our episodes, is by talking about a good work fuck up, a bad work memory. Hopefully not too bad. Hopefully, I don't want to make anyone upset here.
Yeah.
But have you got any good I've worked so many jobs. I did some like laboring, and I always just broke stuff. I did some art handling. Ooh. Not good. Behind the bar, supermarket, not good. I'm too clumsy. Have you got any particular memories?
I couldn't do behind the bar. I found the whole glasses would be shattered because I'm the most clumsy person you could ever meet. If you think you're clumsy, may sometimes I fall when I'm walking. So,
has there been a particular moment where you're like, oh, I'm so glad that day ended?
You know what? During COVID, obviously everyone lost their job. And then my friend, in his desperation, got this gig to go do a gardening job. But he never told me that we had to basically excavate these bricks from the ground to then get into the soil.
Yeah.
I've never worked so hard in my life. I mean, 3 hours in, we're still trying to get this thing off the ground. And for what money as well?
Yeah.
It was for literally peanut. And I said to him, I was like, mate, if not for COVID, you could have put a gun in my head to get me. That was awful.
You found out your limit.
Yeah, but it's funny. You go from that to basically this summer. I'm leaving here tomorrow, and my show is just sold out in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And then we're playing 3 shows with Now Rogers as well.
Yeah.
Which
is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, it was the one when I was like, I kind of called my mom.
Yeah.
Because she says to me all the time in a funny Nigerian accent, are you sure you can feed your family with this?
Yeah.
with this job? And I'm like,
check it out.
We do okay, Mom, you know. And so when I told her I'm spotting Now Rogers, she was like, Now Rogers, like up all night to get lucky. I was like, yeah, that guy. And she was like, oh my God, this music thing is really going well. I was like,
validation.
I was like, she gets it finally.
Love it.
So I'm really excited for that. I think that's amazing. Like, I just can't wait to, it's like being in the presence of greatness and to have that kind of rub off on me. But yeah, really proud, really excited to be here as well.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Awesome. Good day by the beach. The premise of the show, we met before.
Yeah.
Great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
You know, this is a conversation that we could actually have with every band on earth about all the different jobs that go into being a band. And we've done 550 episodes.
Yeah.
We will do another 550 because it is a different story for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone is from a different economic background. Everyone's from a different like geographical background. And actually, I just think it's amazing to get you all in one place. In the first place. So, you know, I think the first I think to start with, it's always like, how do you think you got this far? Because the fact you're playing these shows and you've been a band for this long, like there's so much work that goes into it. And it's not a boo-hoo story. It's like a fucking awesome story. So how do you think, and this is a big question, you know, for all of you, but like, how do you think you've done it?
Sheer determination.
Yeah, it's a lot of perseverance. And like, particularly in relation to jobs, like I'm sure a lot of bands have said this, where they just go, okay, got a tour, we all quitting and we'll find a new job when we get back. Like a lot of the time, that sort of thing. So yeah.
And how does that like, is it something you talk about? Because I guess like, you know, writing songs is enough of a job as it is to then be able to be like, okay, like what's your situation? Are you able to do these dates?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be quite good at communication, I imagine.
I guess there's sometimes where you just kind of have to say, yeah, I'll be there and then figure it out.
Like
later on, I was working my part-time job and I got asked to fill in with these guys. I was working in a Scot Mid. I don't know if English people know what that is, but it's like kind of like a smaller co-op with like a bakery counter. So I was there like slinging pies, and then I get a message from Finlay like, oh, we're about to support HMLTD but we don't have a drummer, could you come and do it? And I was like, man, I kind of need to be slinging pies, but I would much rather do that. So I was just like, yeah. And then called in sick from the Netherlands like a week later or something. So,
You lived off your like insurance payout from a car crash technically.
Yes, I was in a car crash during a driving lesson.
Wow.
I was stationary. The person crashed into me, but I got some money off of that.
Wow.
So that's how I was able to like kind of pack in the pies and go and do that.
Packing the pies.
I mean, there's a lot of like, I don't know, living on crazy small amounts of money that you get for weird reasons, like I mean, even just like advances that split 5 ways don't go that far, but we're just like, we'll make them go far so that we can like write songs enough and stuff.
You're putting out music. How does that kind of, we all know that there's so many different levels to it, and it's almost like when you achieve something or get signed or have an element of success, then like actually maybe that's just that's the thing that you have to work harder then after that. Is that true for you? Is that the way it goes?
It's definitely true. We are like really busy. I mean, we put out a song like 2 days ago, so we're definitely busy with that, but it's like a slightly bigger team than we've worked with before, so there's a lot more of like A-being things that someone's already done, which isn't hard work, to be honest with you. It's like, do you like this mailing list or this mailing list? And then you go that one. It's like a bit of Roman Emperor like kind of thing. Just point at
it's
the one
care though.
like.
You got to care about it.
Yeah, exactly. Of course,
and we really care about our mailing list, and you can tell.
Is there like a different element to just the everydayness of it now?
Yeah, I mean, there is like an every day. There's like every single day there's something to do, and we don't have to come up with it all ourselves. You know, like there's people working real hard for us, which is a privilege. So
people backing you up,
backing us up. It feels really good. It's nice.
What does it sound like, the new stuff, without giving too much away?
I mean, this new single, really good. This new single is like really high energy, fast paced, like a sample. There's a lot of samples on the new stuff, and like a big like rock sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the kind of most energetic one.
Yeah,
that we've
awesome.
got. It was good to come out with a bang.
Does that come out like in the room? Is it something you talk about? Is it if you're like, have you heard this record? And then you're like, fuck, and then you kind of get inspired, you know, and you find yourself on that wave.
I mean, I think we actually, like with this new stuff, we're kind of like ignoring references, but just like we went back to the core of what made us like want to be musicians and like music. So it's like very much stuff that we like just listened to when we were 17. So we didn't really have to talk about the references that much.
We kind of, that was just like, we knew.
Yeah. Like, how long have you known each other?
I mean,
I was 18.
Yeah.
Same.
So it's like between 5 and 8 years. Because they've joined at different times.
Different points.
And it must feel like such a success to even be together that long. Like, you know, not to labour the point, but like the elements are against you to be in a band in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
A good band has passed in our lifespan.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it does happen.
A lot of our peers didn't really make it this far.
Right.
And probably them and possibly us probably thought we wouldn't. And then we kind of got a second wind when we started writing this new music.
Okay.
And we were like really inspired. And we were like, well, I think this is the best time to give it that like second shot. And it feels like really right and really easy now.
I think we like kind of hit some pretty low points like kind of 2-3 years ago, but then like because this music was coming, it kind of kept us going. Like we had something to shoot for.
You're gonna have low times, and I imagine you know you're in an interview, you don't want to talk about the low times, but like I tell them, you know, it's real life. Like in any relationship, in any friendship, in any like good story, there is an up and a down.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that sentiment of the lows that kind of appears on this record is very high and low. So yeah, it's kind of like ruminating and like some of it's kind of existential. Like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like
life's existential.
Have I made a big mistake? I should have maybe gone to uni like 5 years ago. But like
and wound up with a bunch of student loan.
Yeah, I mean, I still managed to get one for going to college for like a year.
We also all did that. Like, I got a student loan for a year, just got out of there.
Do not. I sometimes click onto it. I'm like, no.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a big fan of the gaffs and the part-time jobs that are like, some of the part-time jobs are, you know, you come out of them being like, oh, I learned something there. Or I met someone cool. You meet friends. I met a bunch of friends at bar work and stuff. But there's the pendulum swings the other way where it's totally shite. And I think there's some Schadenfreude in there and laughing at your own misfortune. Have the four of you each got some bad days at work that you're glad that it got to the... I don't want to rake up too bad memories, but sufficiently bad memories.
I've got like a quick one that was pretty like... It could have been so traumatizing, but just ended up this like flash.
Yeah.
But like, so I was a kitchen porter in a restaurant, and I was just having a beer after work, chatting to like the sommelier, like bar manager, and she laughed backwards into a candle, and her hair caught on fire.
Oh, she did that.
like that, and then her hair went up, and I was like, oh my god! And all I could do was chuck my pint on her, but I didn't miss, so I like put out it, and we both just like looked at each other like, oh my god, what just happened? Like
you were face to her.
I like went round to the back of her hair and then chucked this pint on her, and I was just like, oh my god. And I was like, if I'd have missed, her hair would have just been gone.
Get another pint.
Another pint.
But it goes up so quickly, especially if there's product in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's terrifying. Good on you. Good, quick thinking.
Yeah.
Well done. I imagine you got the bug there. You want to throw some pints in other faces now. The way you're on fire.
Watch yourselves tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, try not to laugh about that. Any good like I think like the labouring jobs can be quite difficult when like people hurt themselves.
I was a labourer for a while, but because my dad's a builder, so I just worked for him, and it was great. Like, I don't know, we'd listen to Gadio, and like dig holes. It was great. Yeah.
Spades. Proper spades.
Oh yeah.
Did you get into rhythm of it? Like, is there like some kind of zone you get into?
Yeah, you get into a flow state for sure. You know, get the right tunes on.
I mean, I had like this kind of non-labouring job that involved like way more dangerous heavy lifting than it really should have done. Like, I worked in a music shop in Edinburgh for a bit, and like the owner, who was like 80 years old, still like worked there every single day, and he was a complete fucking nightmare. Like he sucked. This guy absolutely sucked. Like my job mainly consisted of like getting in front of customers before he had the chance.
Right.
And like obviously I could like
save them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would try and keep him busy at the back of the shop so that if I heard the bell go, I could run way faster than him. So
working with nightmare people is like a...
Yeah. He was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. Like, the place had no business. And like, if you go in the Google reviews, I would sit there at work reading the Google reviews for my own place of work, and it's just like, don't go here, the guy's a nightmare. He'd like, he was a total misogynist, terrible guy. He sucked. And like, but like the one like kind of weird little bonding day we had, where I was like, maybe you are human after all, it was where we had to deliver a piano together to Rosyth. And like, it was me, him, and these two like huge burly Polish dudes who were both called Peter. And like we like got in the van and he was driving, and I was like, "There's no way you can still drive, dude. Like let one of the Peters do it. Like come on." And he drove like the whole way there like in neutral somehow. And he was like, "I do all my driving in neutral, Jack. You spend no money." And I was like, "Christ, just like build up speed." Like,
it's like a Flintstone.
There's a special place for people who like who it's like the dad move, I guess, isn't it? For sure. Like the trying to save the pennies where you can.
Yeah. I mean. Good for him. And then we got to this like really fancy gaff in Rosyth with these people buying a piano, and he like backed up the van, like knocked over all their bins. He was like mounting their doorstep and shit, and like me and the Peters were like, Stuart, and the people were like horrified. And then it came time to like get this piano out, and like, I was maybe about as useful as the 8-year-old man myself, and the two Peters were just like, they were about dying trying to get this thing out of here, dude. And then the people got involved, and it was a mess, dude. We all came away from that looking like idiots.
Great. And last one, please.
I
feel like a school teacher.
I had a job being a ice skating marshal, so it was like a Christmas ice rink outside. I grew up playing ice hockey. So I was like, well, might as well use a skill for something.
Yeah.
And like, but it was pretty sketchy. Like, sometimes the ice would start kind of like cracking and melting, and it was like really uneven. And I'd be like, I don't think we should be skating on this. And they're like, no, it's fine, because it was so busy and they were making so much money. But there was one session where basically like it was kind of elevated, and sometimes people off the street would like climb up to like look over to see what was happening. But if that happened, you had to go tell them off. And tell them to get down. So I was skating around, this guy got up and I saw him, and I started skating over, but because the ice was so like cracked and like melting, I like absolutely decked it like on the way to tell him off, and like smacked my knee, and I had this like proper massive bruise. And also, you lose all authority when you fall over. Like, he just watched it, and I just like sprung up, and I was like, can you get down?
Ice skating sounds terrifying.
It's great. I love it.
Lovely to see you. Lovely to hang out and chat properly.
Yeah. And we're also going on tour.
And we're going on tour
in June.
Yes, we're going on tour.
Yeah.
We'll put the dates below.
Yeah, great.
Nice one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to hang. Hello, it's Giles here from 101 Part-Time Jobs. If you like what we're doing and you'd like to support us, you can. For £1, £4 or £10 a month at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. You can help support our independent production. We are so happy with the way this is going. We appreciate all of you listening and watching our episodes. So thank you for being here. If you'd like to take it that one step further, you can. That's at patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. Cheers.